What would you do if 7 lawyers told you there was no hope? If the person you loved most was being taken from you and everyone said you couldn't do anything about it? If the system itself was designed against you? My name is Marcus Thompson. I'm a father, a veteran, and 15 years ago, I was told by 7 different lawyers that I would never get custody of my daughters, that fathers don't win, that I should give up and move on. But I heard something they didn't hear. I heard my 4-year-old daughter screaming, not a tantrum, but a soul-deep, heartbreaking cry. "Don't make me go. I don't want to go. I want to stay with you." And that sound changed everything. This is the story of how I fought an impossible battle, how I lost everything and almost lost myself, and how, against every odd, I won the most important fight of my life. Let me take you back to December 15 years ago. I was 25 years old, recently returned from a deployment in Iraq, trying to build a normal life after seeing things no person should see. I'd met my ex-wife, Jennifer, when I was 21, fresh out of basic training. She was beautiful, charismatic, and seemed like everything I needed after the chaos of military life. We got married quickly, maybe too quickly, and within 2 years we had 2 daughters, Emma, who was 4, and Lily, who was 3. From the outside, we probably looked like the perfect young military family. But inside our home, things were deteriorating in ways I didn't have words for at the time. Jennifer was controlling. That's the simple word. But it went deeper than that. She would twist conversations until I doubted my own memory. She'd create crises out of nothing, then blame me for not handling them correctly. She'd go from loving to ice cold in seconds, and I never knew which version of her would walk through the door. When I was deployed, she'd send me messages that ranged from supportive to accusatory. "The girls miss you, but they're fine without you." "I'm doing this all alone." "Maybe we're better off this way." I couldn't name it then. Manipulation, emotional abuse, gaslighting. I just knew something was profoundly wrong, and I knew I couldn't keep living that way. The girls were suffering too. Emma, my oldest, had started having nightmares. She'd wake up screaming, and when I'd go to comfort her, she'd cling to me like she was drowning. Lily had stopped talking as much, gone quiet in a way that terrified me. In December of that year, I made the hardest decision of my life. I told Jennifer I wanted a divorce. Her response was immediate and cold. "Fine, but the girls stay with me." I thought I'd approach it reasonably, peacefully, like adults. My plan was simple. I'd move to Oregon, just 1 state over from Washington where we lived. She'd stay in our house. I'd pay child support. I'd visit the girls every other weekend. It seemed fair, normal, the kind of arrangement lots of divorced parents make. Jennifer seemed to agree, for about 2 weeks. "That works for me," she'd said when I proposed it. "We can make this work for the girls." I started looking for apartments in Portland, started planning how I'd make the 5-hour drive every other weekend, started calculating how much child support I could afford on my $1,200 a month disability check from the VA. I even told the girls, trying to explain in terms they could understand. "Daddy's going to live somewhere else, but I'll see you all the time. Every other weekend, we'll have adventures." Emma, my 4-year-old, just looked at me with these enormous eyes and asked, "Why can't you stay here?" I didn't have a good answer for that. The first few weekends of our separation, the arrangement seemed to work. I'd drive the 5 hours from Portland to Spokane, pick up the girls Friday evening, and return them Sunday night. We'd go to parks, make pancakes, read stories. They seemed okay. I tried to make those 48 hours as perfect as possible. Then came the weekend that changed everything. It was a Sunday evening in late February. I'd had the girls all weekend, and we'd had a wonderful time. We'd gone to the zoo, made cookies shaped like animals, watched their favorite movies. They'd been happy, laughing, normal. I pulled up to Jennifer's house around 6 p.m. The girls had been quiet on the drive, but I'd assumed they were just tired. Jennifer came to the door. "Right on time," she said flatly. "Girls, come on, inside." Lily, my 3-year-old, climbed out of her car seat slowly. She looked back at me with sad eyes, but walked toward the door. Emma was different. She unbuckled her seatbelt, but didn't move. "Emma, honey, it's time," I said gently. "I don't want to," she whispered. "I know, baby, but I'll see you in 2 weeks." "No!" she screamed. And it wasn't a tantrum scream. It wasn't a tired kid protesting bedtime. It was a scream of terror. "Don't make me go! Please! Daddy, please! I want to stay with you!" She wrapped her arms around my neck and held on with a strength I didn't know a 4-year-old could have. Jennifer stormed to the car. "Emma, stop being dramatic. Get in the house, now." "No, no! Daddy, don't make me!" I stood there, frozen. Every instinct in my body was screaming that something was wrong. This wasn't normal separation anxiety. This was fear. Jennifer physically pulled Emma from my arms. My daughter was sobbing, reaching for me, screaming my name. "You're making this worse," Jennifer hissed at me. "Just go." I watched Jennifer carry my screaming daughter into the house. The door slammed. I could still hear Emma crying from inside. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, shaking, trying to process what had just happened. Something was very, very wrong, and I had to do something about it. The next morning, I called a family law attorney in Spokane. I explained the situation, my daughter's reaction, my concerns, my desire to get primary custody. The lawyer, a man in his 60s who sounded tired, listened quietly. Then he said, "Mr. Thompson, I'm going to be honest with you. Fathers almost never win custody. Unless you have video evidence of severe abuse, and I mean severe, like drug use with the children present, the courts favor mothers. That's just reality. I'd be taking your money for a fight you can't win." "But my daughter—" "I understand. But one incident of her not wanting to go home isn't enough. I'm sorry." I called another lawyer, a woman this time. She was kinder, but said essentially the same thing. Then another, and another. 7 lawyers in total. 7 variations of the same message. Fathers don't get custody. The system isn't built that way. You won't win. Save your money and your sanity. By the 7th call, I was sitting on the floor of my tiny apartment, feeling like I was drowning. I'd survived an IED blast in Iraq. I'd come home with shrapnel scars and nightmares. I'd watched friends die. But nothing had prepared me for the absolute helplessness of knowing my daughters needed me and being told there was nothing I could do. I made one more call, to a small firm in Spokane run by a lawyer named David Chen. He was younger than the others, maybe early 40s, and his paralegal scheduled me for a consultation the next week. David Chen's office was modest, cramped even, law books stacked everywhere, a desk buried under files. He looked exhausted when I walked in. "Mr. Thompson," he said, shaking my hand, "please sit." I told him everything. The divorce, Emma's scream, the other lawyers, my deployment, Jennifer's behavior, the way my girls seemed afraid. He listened without interrupting, took notes, asked clarifying questions. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. "Mr. Thompson," "Marcus, please." "Marcus, I'm not going to lie to you. What you're asking for is extremely difficult. The other lawyers aren't wrong. Family courts do favor mothers in most cases, and your ex will have every advantage." My heart sank. Here it comes again. "But," he continued, "I don't think you're lying, and I don't think you're exaggerating. I can hear the truth in your voice. More importantly, I can hear how much you love your daughters." I felt tears welling up. "So you'll take the case?" "I'll take it. But you need to understand, this is going to be hard. It's going to be expensive. It's going to hurt. And there's no guarantee we'll win." "I don't care. I have to try." He nodded. "Then let's get started." The day after I officially filed for custody, my phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. My lawyer says I don't have to let you see the kids anymore since you're contesting, so you won't be seeing them until this is resolved. I stared at that message for what felt like hours. No visits, no calls, nothing. I immediately called David. She can't do this, right? We have an informal agreement. Until there's a custody order from the court, she legally can do this. It's wrong, and we'll fight it, but it could take weeks to get a hearing. Weeks? I can't go weeks without seeing them. I know. I'm filing an emergency motion right now. Those weeks were the darkest of my life. I didn't eat, couldn't sleep. I'd just lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd ever hear my daughter's voices again. People who haven't experienced it can't understand. When that IED hit our convoy in Iraq, when I saw the vehicle in front of us explode, when I realized we could die, that was terrifying. But this, not knowing if your children are okay, not being able to hear them, hold them, protect them, that's a different kind of terror. It's not quick and explosive. It's slow and suffocating. I lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. My mom called me every day. Marcus, you need to eat something. You need to take care of yourself. I can't, Mom. I can't do anything until I know they're okay. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the court stepped in. Temporary visitation was ordered, every other weekend until the custody hearing. When I picked up Emma and Lily for the first time in almost a month, they both ran to me and held on like they'd never let go. "I missed you, Daddy," Emma whispered. "I thought you weren't coming back." "Never, baby. I will always come back for you." David Chen wasn't taking any chances. He hired a private investigator, a former cop named Sarah Rodriguez, who specialized in custody cases. "We need to know what's happening when the girls are with their mother," David explained. "If there's anything putting them at risk, we need documentation." "How much is this going to cost?" I asked. I was already drowning in legal fees. "Don't worry about that right now. We'll figure it out." Over the next several months, Sarah followed Jennifer. The reports she sent back were disturbing. Late-night trips to motels in bad parts of town. The girls in the car, sometimes past midnight. Endless driving around the city with no apparent destination. Meetups with individuals who, when Sarah ran their names, had criminal records. Some nights, Sarah would lose track of the car entirely and have no idea where the girls were. David and I would sit in his office going through these reports, and my stomach would turn. "This is what I was afraid of," I said. "This is why Emma was screaming." "We're building a case," David assured me, "but we need more. Keep documenting everything on your end, too." I kept a journal. Every time I picked up the girls, I'd note their condition. Were they clean? Fed? Did they seem tired? Scared? I'd write it all down. Emma started telling me things, small things at first. "Mommy's friend is scary. He yells a lot. We had to sleep in the car one night because Mommy forgot her keys. Lily cried and cried, but Mommy was on the phone." Each statement was a knife in my chest, but I documented everything. About 8 or 9 months into the custody battle, something unexpected happened. Jennifer called me on a Wednesday afternoon. Her voice was different, lighter, almost friendly. "Hey, Marcus, I have a last-minute work thing this weekend. Can you take the girls? I know it's not your scheduled weekend, but—" "Yes," I said immediately. "Of course. When do you need me to get them? Friday afternoon? I'll have them ready." I didn't question it. I just said yes. That weekend, I had the girls. We went to the aquarium, made homemade pizzas, built a blanket fort in the living room. They were happy, safe. On Sunday, Jennifer called. "Actually, can you keep them through the week? My work thing got extended." "Sure, no problem." Monday came and went. Tuesday, Wednesday. On Thursday, I saw on Facebook, because yes, she was posting on social media, that Jennifer was at the beach with friends. Wine glasses, sunset photos, captions about finding myself and living my best life. There was no work trip. She'd lied to go party with friends. And you know what? I didn't care, because I had my daughters, and they were safe. The following week, she called again. "Hey, this is gonna sound crazy, but can the girls just stay with you for a while? I need some time to figure things out." "How long is a while?" "I don't know, a few weeks, a month?" Every alarm bell in my head was ringing. This felt like a trap, but I couldn't say no. "Okay," I said carefully, "if that's what you think is best." "Great, thanks." She hung up, just like that. I immediately called David. "Jennifer just asked me to keep the girls indefinitely." "What? Why?" "She says she needs time." "But David, this feels wrong. What if it's a trick?" "Document everything. Save that voicemail. Text her to confirm the arrangement in writing." I texted, "Just confirming, you're okay with the girls staying with me for the foreseeable future?" Her reply, "Yes, I'll let you know when I'm ready for them to come back." David called me an hour later. "Marcus, I just got a call from Jennifer's lawyer. He dropped her." "What? Why?" He said, and I quote, "My client just made decisions I can't ethically support. Her asking you to keep the kids indefinitely without going through proper channels? That's a huge red flag. He wants nothing to do with this case anymore." For the first time in months, I felt a flicker of hope.
2 months passed. I had the girls full-time now. I enrolled them in preschool near my apartment, established routines, made sure they were stable, safe, loved. Jennifer would call occasionally, but the conversations were brief and strange. She seemed distant, distracted. Then, in early December, almost exactly 1 year after this nightmare began, David called me. His voice was urgent. "Marcus, you need to get to my office, today, right now if possible." "What's wrong? Are the girls okay?" "The girls are fine. It's your ex. She wrote a letter to the judge." "A letter? About what?" "Just get here. You need to see this in person." I made the 3-hour drive in 2.5 hours, my mind racing. What could she have possibly written? When I got to David's office, he handed me a printed document without saying anything. I started reading, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Jennifer had written directly to the judge, which apparently was already a questionable move. But it wasn't the format that shocked us. It was the content. In the letter, Jennifer admitted, in writing, to a judge, that she couldn't take care of the children anymore. She was 6 months pregnant. The father of the baby, a man who, when David ran his name, turned out to be a registered sex offender. She went on to describe how difficult it was to manage 2 young children while dealing with her new relationship and her pregnancy. She suggested that maybe Marcus should have primary custody, for now. David and I sat in stunned silence after I finished reading. She just handed you custody?" David said, sounding almost dazed. "I've never seen anything like this in my entire career." "She's pregnant by a sex offender?" "A registered one, yes, and she just told the judge about it, voluntarily." "What do we do?" "We file for an emergency hearing, immediately. This changes everything." The hearing was scheduled for 3 days later, the fastest I'd ever seen the court system move. I walked into that courtroom with David beside me, my heart pounding. Jennifer was there with a different lawyer, her third since this started, looking defiant despite the circumstances. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s named Judge Patricia Morrison, had Jennifer's letter on the bench in front of her. "Miss Thompson," the judge began, her voice cold, "can you explain to me what you were thinking when you wrote this letter?" Jennifer's lawyer tried to intervene, but the judge held up a hand. "I want to hear from her directly." Jennifer stood. "Your Honor, I was just trying to be honest about my situation." "Your situation being that you're 6 months pregnant by a registered sex offender and you've been allowing your young daughters to be around this individual." "He's not dangerous." "He's a registered sex offender, Miss Thompson. That means a court has determined he is dangerous." The hearing lasted 2 hours. David presented everything: the private investigator's reports, my journals, the text messages, Jennifer's own admission. He even included the recordings I'd made of the girls' drop-offs and pickups, including that first heartbreaking scream from Emma. The bailiff, a woman who'd apparently been working in family court for 14 years, whispered to David afterward, "I've never seen anything like this in my entire career." Judge Morrison didn't need to deliberate long. "Mr. Thompson," she said, looking directly at me, "I'm granting you full physical and legal custody of your daughters, effective immediately." I couldn't breathe. "Miss Thompson, your visitation is suspended until you complete a court-ordered parenting course and substance abuse evaluation. You will have supervised visits only until that time." Jennifer's lawyer tried to object, but the judge cut him off. "Your client admitted, in writing, that she cannot care for these children and that she's involved with a registered sex offender. This is one of the clearest custody decisions I've ever made. We're done here." The gavel came down. It was December, exactly 1 year after this nightmare began. And I had my daughters. Permanently. Jennifer never completed the court-ordered programs, never called to check on the girls, never sent a birthday card or Christmas gift. In the beginning, Emma would ask about her sometimes. "Is Mommy going to come visit?" "I don't know, sweetie, but you've always got me." Eventually, she stopped asking. Raising 2 daughters as a single dad in my mid-20s was terrifying. I had no idea what I was doing half the time. I learned to braid hair from YouTube videos. I learned about periods from my mom and Emma's pediatrician. I learned about parent-teacher conferences and field trip permissions and how to help with math homework that looked nothing like the math I'd learned. But I also learned that love is enough. Not perfect parenting, I made plenty of mistakes. But showing up every single day for every single thing, that was enough. I was there for Emma's first day of kindergarten, when she was so nervous she threw up before we left the house. I was there when Lily learned to ride a bike and crashed into a tree and we had to go to the ER for stitches. I was there for school plays where they forgot their lines, for science fairs where their volcanoes didn't erupt, for soccer games where they scored own goals. I was there when Emma's first boyfriend broke her heart and she cried for 3 days. I was there when Lily came out to me at 14, scared I'd reject her, and I hugged her and told her I loved her exactly as she was. I was there for every ordinary Tuesday, every carpool, every grocery store trip, every bedtime story, every "Dad, I'm bored," every eye roll, every hug. Emma is 19 now. She's in her 2nd year at the University of Washington, studying psychology. She wants to be a therapist who helps kids from broken homes. "Because someone helped us," she told me when she declared her major. "You helped us, Dad, and I want to do that for other kids." Lily is 18, finishing her senior year of high school. She's brilliant, taking AP classes in the robotics club, planning to study engineering. She's also in a healthy relationship with a girl she met at debate club, and I couldn't be prouder. They're both happy. Healthy, strong, kind, funny, everything I could have hoped for. Last year, Emma asked me about that day, the day she screamed when I tried to take her back to Jennifer's house. "Do you remember that?" I asked. I remember being terrified. I remember thinking if you left me there, something bad would happen. I don't remember exactly what I was afraid of, but I remember the fear. That day changed everything, I told her. That's the day I knew I had to fight. "I'm glad you did, Dad. I know it was hard." Every second was worth it. And I mean that. Every lawyer who rejected me. Every night I lay awake terrified. Every penny I scraped together for legal fees. Every 5-hour drive. Every moment of doubt. Worth it. All of it. I'm sharing this story because I know there's someone out there right now hearing what I heard 15 years ago. Fathers don't get custody. You won't win. Save yourself the heartache. And I'm here to tell you, fight anyway. Will it be hard? Yes, harder than anything you've ever done. Will there be moments you want to give up?
Absolutely. I almost gave up 7 times, once with each lawyer who turned me down. Will the system seem designed against you? Often, yes. But if you're fighting for your children, truly fighting, not out of spite or revenge, but because you genuinely believe they need you, then fight. Document everything. Find a lawyer who believes in you, even if it takes 8 tries. Show up every single time you're supposed to. Be consistent. Be present. Be honest. And know that every step forward, even if it's inches, gets you closer. I went from thinking I'd never see my daughters again to being there for every single day of their lives. From 7 lawyers telling me no to a judge granting me full custody. From lying on my floor, broken and hopeless, to raising 2 incredible young women who I'm honored to call my daughters. The road will break you down. There will be nights you can't sleep, days you can't eat, moments you can't breathe. But keep going, because on the other side of that impossible fight might be the rest of your life with your children. And that's worth everything. My name is Marcus Thompson. I'm a father, a veteran, a survivor. And 15 years ago, I won a battle everyone said was unwinnable. If I can do it, maybe you can too. Don't give up. Your kids need you to keep fighting, and someday they'll thank you for never letting go.